morning, y'all. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is not only Monday, June 22nd, 2026. Yesterday was the first day of summer because season is every 3 months. Because 3 months ago was first day of spring. The next 3 months will be first day of fall, will be September. And then the other 3 months is first day of winter in December. So, seasons change, y'all. Spring is over, summer is here. So, we are ready for that. Today, we have a handful of stuff to get to on the 22nd day of June. We'll talk Giannis Antetokounmpo. We'll talk Browns outlook. We'll preview the NBA draft for tomorrow. And we'll talk Devin Booker as well. But I had to talk this in a later time. Speaking of which, we just have breaking news out of the NBA. This is the shockiest one. According to NBA on ESPN insider Shams Charania, 2025-2026 NCAA champion Michigan head coach Dustin May has finalized to become the Dallas Mavericks head coach to work with the reigning Rookie of the Year Cooper Flagg. So, Dustin May is now a Maverick. So, let's hear my reaction here. What was my reaction when I heard the news? When I got up in the morning, he said, "What? This can't be true." And it turns out it is a fact that Dusty May is now a head coach with the Mavericks. And so the deal could be 5 years. It might be a 5-year, roughly $60 million contract for Dusty May. So we'll find out what the sources will look like. So they say that the deal expect to be later at this point. So possibly $60 million for 5 years as Mavericks head coach. So, oh, by the way, for the first time in NBA history, we had a coach who won the national championship and becoming the new team's head coach. It has never happened in the history of the NBA. But Jim Harbaugh, for the first time ever, we had Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh won the college football national championship in 2023-24 season. He beat Washington in the national championship game. And then weeks later, Jim Harbaugh became the Los Angeles Chargers head coach. And he's entering his third season right now as the Chargers head coach. And then Dusty May won the national title. He defeated UConn in a national title this year. And then 2 months later, over 2 months later, which is today, he's now the Mavericks head coach. I mean, this is surprising to me. Now he's working with Cooper Flag. When you look at it, Mavericks. Look at these Mavericks outlook. Yeah, Cooper Flag, the reigning rookie of the year. But Kyrie Irving's future is uncertain, but he'll be reigning the roster for a while. Then you got Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. And then Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. So they still have this is a young team experience for Dallas to learn how to play a good brand of basketball. So this is a rebuild roster for the Dallas Mavericks in 2026-27 season. We can talk about all that in that situation. But Dusty May becomes the new Dallas Mavericks head coach. All right, let's move on from that. Let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Been mentioned about that a few days ago. We just a developing update that, according to Shams Charania, Giannis Antetokounmpo expected and reportedly to be traded before the NBA draft. So, which team will most likely make sense, the Heat or the Celtics for Giannis? I'm gonna say the Miami Heat, and and why. So you give away Tyler Hero. If you give away Tyler Hero to the Bucks and exchange multiple draft picks, then it could pair up with Bam Adebayo. That actually would make sense. Or how they can do what other ways they can do. They can trade away Jaime Jaquez Jr. to bring more young durability. Regardless, if they can trade away one of these low leverage assets or high leverage assets, like a high leverage shooter or a low leverage shooter, then they could see the draft picks can go to Milwaukee. Because the Bucks only have Miles Turner, so that's a different story. So it is because NBA free agency starts next week. But we've been seeing all of that. We've seen everything to go through it. We've seen everything to pass it on. You got to pass the batons to some other players. I like Giannis to go to the Boston Celtics, but that assets doesn't make any damn sense to me. You could easily trade away with Jaylen Brown. I don't want that. It's going to break my heart. I'll say Miami Heat makes sense. Hopefully, Miami Heat. I hope and pray that Heat acquires Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, that's that. Regarding that situation, we've been seeing everything else. And plus, it's about learning growth. So, I believe this is a better situation right now. Something you can't do. Maybe it's not the worst thing because of that. So we would have took it. All right, coming up next, we'll talk the Cleveland Browns outlook. We'll talk Devin Booker. And we'll also talk NBA draft. We'll preview the NBA draft for tomorrow for round 1. So there's a lot to decide at this point on. So we'll step away in about 1 minute or 2. Welcome back here to JDB's Morning Cap. The Cleveland Browns finished the season 5-12. So slightly surpassed their win total from the previous year. 2024-25 season, they went 3-14. Then the next year they went 5-12. Myles Garrett had a historical number of sacks season, but no longer with the Browns. He's with the Los Angeles Rams. So, due to the trade. So here are the quarterbacks as of right now. Shadir Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Taylor Green, Deshaun Watson. Those are the notable Browns quarterback rooms in 2026. The offensive line is rebuilding their roster as well, like Titus Howard, Zion Johnson, Elkerton Jenkins, Spencer Fano, and in skilled positions like Harold Fenton Jr., Jerry Jeudy. And the defense still had some guys. Denzel Ward. And Jared versus the newest acquisition. The strength of schedule is actually one of the easiest schedules. So it could be. The only question is how the Browns, should the Browns win a handful of games this season? They won 5 games last year, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Browns are going to the playoffs. But I think the Browns team would be much better. I think Browns team would be much better because they have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. So when we looked at their schedule, when I look for the Cleveland Browns, I think the defense is still going to be very good. But the quarterback situation, it's unproductive. Quarterback rating since 2002, which is the lowest in the NFL. Quarterback rating has the passer rating, which is last in the NFL since 2002. Passing touchdowns, second fewest passing touchdowns in the NFL since 2002. And passing yards, 31st since 2002. So, and total offense, bottom 3, 30th. So the offense has not been good over the years. So we've just been talking about all that. But let's look at the last year's offense when before the firing of Kevin Stefanski. They finished 30th in total offense in 2025-26 season, 31st in pass yardage, third fewest passing touchdowns in the NFL, fourth most interceptions allowed in the NFL, 27th in rushing, 25th in rushing touchdowns, 31st in scoring offense. They finished the fourth lowest third down percentage in football. They finished 25th in red zone touchdown win rate. So the Browns' offensive categories are really terrible. They've been terrible in every offensive category. Not just last year, throughout the years. The Browns' offense, it's been the quarterback play. The quarterback play has been problematic over the years. There's no getting around it because it feels like there's several reasons why we could be all in one favor. And you say, hey, can you handle all this situation right now? So now Todd Monken is now a new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, which means what's this all going to look like in 2026? Who's going to be the week one starter? Will it be Shadir Sanders? Will it be Dylan Gabriel, Taylor Green? Deshaun Watson is still focused on his health, so right now it could be Shadir Sanders. But now there's going to be a heavy quarterback competition in the preseason and throughout the training camp. We all know that. The quarterback competition is more critical than the rest of the NFL. It's about quarterback developments. You got to develop consistency consistently to I won't say put up huge numbers, but you got to take care of the football. You got to take care of yourself, not just taking care of the football. Quarterback has to take care of yourself. That's your main goal. You got to take care off the field. That's critical. That is crucial. Not just in your franchise, it's crucial in the entire NFL. You know how important this league is as far as off the field. All right, so the Browns will open up the season against two Florida teams. Both of those games are on the road. Browns will kick off the season in week 1 in Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. The Browns will lose that one. Week 2, the Browns will go to Tampa Bay. They'll go southern side of Florida. Browns will head to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. That's a loss. So Browns will be 0-2. And then week 3, against the Carolina Panthers at home, Todd Monken will get his first win as the Browns head coach. They'll beat the Panthers at home. Week 4, against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, that's a W, 2-2. Week 5 at New York Jets, they'll probably lose that one, 2-3. Week 6 against the Ravens at home, that's a loss, 2-4. Week 7 at Tennessee, they're gonna beat Tennessee Titans, so they'll be 3-3. Week 8, Browns will play the Steelers on the road. Steelers will get the Browns this time, so that's the Browns' loss. Then week 9, they're at New Orleans. That's a loss. So they'll be 3-6. In Week 10, they'll face the Texans at home. That's a loss, 3-7. In Week 10, they'll lose to the Texans at home. Week 12 against the Raiders at home. They're probably going to lose that one too. The Browns will be 3-8. And then in Week 13 against the Bengals at home, I'm going Browns upsetting the Bengals in Cleveland to make it 4-8. In Week 14, the Browns will beat the Falcons to make it 5-8. In Week 15, at Giants, they'll probably lose that one. Week 16 at Baltimore, that's a loss. Week 17 against the Colts at home, that's a win. And Week 18 at Cincinnati, they'll probably lose that one. The Browns will go 6-11, which is they'll win one more game than they had the previous year. 6-11, which is not bad, despite the quarterback struggles, possibly. Yes, the defense is still playing a high level. That's true. But close games are going to go against the Browns. Yeah. As far as losing. So, the Cleveland Browns will be 6-11. They'll be slightly better than they were the previous year. So, it's about developing consistency. So, that's always a good sign at this own point. We're going to take another break. We'll talk NBA draft and we'll talk Devin Booker. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back here to JDB's Morning Cap. Let's preview. I'm going to preview NBA draft. The NBA draft begins tomorrow. First round NBA draft begins tomorrow at 8 Eastern on ESPN ABC. The NBA draft round 2 will have Wednesday, June 24th at 8 Eastern on ESPN. NBA draft location will be in Barclays Center. Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where the Brooklyn Nets played. So, round 1 will start tomorrow on ESPN ABC tomorrow at 8 Eastern. Here's the picks by order. So here we go. Pick number 1 has the Washington Wizards. Pick number 2, the Utah Jazz. Pick number 3, the Memphis Grizzlies. Pick number 4, the Chicago Bulls. Pick number 5, the Los Angeles Clippers via the Indiana Pacers trade. Pick number 6 is the Brooklyn Nets. Pick number 7 is the Sacramento Kings. Pick number 8 is the Atlanta Hawks via the New Orleans Pelicans trade. Pick number 9, the Dallas Mavericks. Pick number 10, the Milwaukee Bucks. Pick number 11, the Golden State Warriors. Pick number 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder via the Los Angeles Clippers trade. Pick number 13, Miami Heat. Pick number 14, Charlotte Hornets. Pick number 15, the Chicago Bulls via the Portland Trailblazers trade. Pick number 16, the Memphis Grizzlies. Multiple trades from the Phoenix Suns and the via trade of the Orlando Magic. And then pick number 17, the Oklahoma City Thunder via the Philadelphia 76ers trade. I think it was a Jared McCain's trade during the regular season. And then pick number 18 is the Charlotte Hornets from Orlando trade and via the Phoenix's trade. Meanwhile, number 19 is the Toronto Raptors. Number 20, the San Antonio Spurs via the Atlanta Hawks trade. Pick number 21 is the Detroit Pistons via the Minnesota Timberwolves trade. Pick number 22 is the Philadelphia 76ers from the Houston Rockets trade and via the Oklahoma City Thunder trade. Pick number 23 is the Atlanta Hawks via the Cleveland Cavaliers trade. Pick number 24 is the NBA champion New York Knicks. Pick number 25, Los Angeles Lakers. Pick number 26 is the Denver Nuggets. Pick number 27 is the Boston Celtics. Pick number 28 is the Minnesota Timberwolves via the Detroit trade. Pick number 25. Pick number 29 is the Cleveland Cavaliers from the San Antonio trade and Atlanta Hawks trade. And pick number 30 is the Dallas Mavericks from the Oklahoma City trade and the Washington Wizards trade. So I'm going to count the picks by via trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, let me go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. In history will be made. 14 picks that teams are drafted by via a trade. That will set a NBA record with 14 picks that's been via a trade or teams who've been acquired from. So that's a bit of a surprise because there are a lot of picks that has been via trade or where they acquired from. So it's going to impact the assets from. It has to do with potential tank situation. It has to do with possible contending teams. It has to be a rebuild rosters, and it has to do with development of rosters of talent. So it has to do with that. The reason why that's how they get. That's why there's 14 picks by a trade, or where they traded from, where they acquired from. So it's really hard to say. There's a lot. I mean, you got to give the NBA draft operations a lot of credit to see how many picks are by a trade. But this is incredible. So it as a matter of fact, it should happen on my watch. So that's that. All right. Let's talk about Devin Booker. We have breaking news late last week. Devin Booker jersey number is going from number 1 to jersey number 15. Devin Booker will wear number 15 because his dad wore number 15. Melvin Booker wore number 15. So Devin Booker is honoring his dad. So my question is, will Devin Booker retire as number 15 or number 1? Most likely number 1 because he put up like 70 points against the Celtics in 2017. So the jersey number has got to be number 1 for retirement if Devin Booker retires. He's not retiring yet. He's going to keep on playing. So, I mean, Devin Booker is one of the greatest players in the NBA. He's the greatest player in Suns history. He's the greatest player in Phoenix Suns history. I just mentioned about that. D-Book is underrated as hell, man. We just been talking about all that. I love Devin Booker to death, man. We've been talking about this throughout the years and throughout all the stuff. But when I even care about Devin Booker, there's something else I really had to learn from. It's been a bigger story in bigger times. You can always learn from that. All right. what's coming up on JDB's morning cap? I will not do the talk show Wednesday. However, I will not do a talk show tomorrow. However, I will do talk show on Wednesday and Thursday. So, like I said, I'll do talk show 3 days a week due to a summer humid situation. So, I got to be modest about it. But what's coming up? I will recap the first round NBA draft from Tuesday. I'll recap that on Wednesday. And I'll preview the second round NBA draft on Wednesday. And then there could be some breaking news later this week. So we're gonna keep it update as soon as possible. And then Thursday I'll recap all who were the biggest winners in the NBA draft for all 2 rounds, and the biggest losers in all the 2 rounds who got snubbed in the NBA draft. So we'll talk all that throughout this week. And then NBA free agency starts next week. So there's a lot of breaking news for the next several weeks. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So we'll keep it updated as soon as possible. NBA draft starts tomorrow. I'll watch it. Should be excited. All right, man. That's going to do it for JDB's morning cap. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And hope you enjoy your day.